striking, isn't it? You hear these stories, people getting loads of money almost overnight,
Yeah.
and yet, so many seem to lose it just as fast. Makes you think the real challenge isn't getting the money.
It's keeping it. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the heart of what we're digging into today, especially now with all the talk about quick wealth. The real skill is holding on to it, managing it wisely.
Exactly. And for that perspective, we're going back, way back actually, not to some new guru, but to a 19th century master showman and maybe a surprisingly sharp businessman,
P.T. Barnum.
P.T. Barnum, and his book, The Art of Money Getting.
Right. Now, most people think circus, greatest show on earth, that sort of thing.
Sure.
But he was also incredibly observant about people, about what made businesses tick back then in that sort of booming American landscape.
Yeah.
And this text, it's full of his practical advice for, well, not just getting rich, but staying independent financially.
And that's why we're doing this deep dive for you, the learner. We get it. You want the core insights, the good stuff, without wading through pages of history, right? So our mission here is to pull out Barnum's timeless rules, the stuff that still works, maybe even some surprising bits, some funny observations too.
Think of it as the highlight reel for Barnum's financial philosophy. We're looking at his core ideas for making money, yes, but more importantly, for keeping it, growing it, and achieving that genuine independence that's more than just dollars and cents.
Okay, let's unpack this. Barnum starts off, and this sounds almost quaint now, saying that back in his day, 19th century America, tons of land, fewer people in each job, making money wasn't always the hardest part.
That's right. He saw opportunity everywhere, basically, if you were willing to put the work in. But, and this is key, he pivots immediately to the real problem, the one that hasn't changed, actually keeping the money you make.
He even uses Dickens, right?
Yeah, Carver. The classic example. Income £20, spend £20 and 6 pence. Result, misery. Income £20, spend 19 and 6 pence. Result, happiness. Simple math, big consequences.
And he says getting that basic calculation wrong is why so many people struggle financially. Then he goes after this idea of economy, people thinking it just means being cheap.
Exactly. Just, saving candle ends, cheese pairings, that kind of thing. He calls it meanness, actually.
Yeah. And he points out how people who are super stingy in one way often splurge somewhere else, almost like they've earned it.
Totally. It's this false economy. He gives great examples like the farmer's wife who won't buy an extra candle so they can't work or read easily, but then drops cash on fancy ribbons. Or the businessman saving scraps of paper but throwing huge expensive parties.
It's that old penny wise and pound foolish thing, like Ben Franklin said, saving at the spigot and wasting at the bunghole. You see it today too, right? Getting a discount but buying stuff you don't need.
Absolutely. So for Barnum, true economy isn't just being tight-fisted. It's simpler but harder. Making sure your income is consistently higher than your outgo. And yeah, that might mean sacrifices. Wearing older clothes, eating simpler food maybe, but the goal is creating that gap, that surplus, so you have something to invest, something that can start earning interest for you.
He even gives a little method, doesn't he? Track your spending. Necessaries and comforts in one column, luxuries in another.
Yeah, and he reckons just seeing the difference, how much goes into luxuries, can be a real wake-up call for people.
What's really sharp, though, is how he nails the social pressure aspect, the eyes of others, Mrs. Grundy, basically worrying what the neighbors think.
That 19th century version of Keeping Up with the Joneses, it drives people to spend on appearances, fancy clothes, furniture they can't really afford.
Oh, yeah. His example of hiring a horse and buggy just to look rich for the neighbors while the family struggles, that could be written about social media today, couldn't it?
It really could. It just shows how pointless it is trying to fake wealth. His advice, be a law unto ourselves. Spend based on what you actually have, not what you want people to think you have.
Okay, so rule 1 is true economy income over outgo. But that's just about keeping money. What about getting it in the first place? He moves on to other principles. First one, don't mistake your vocation. Let's get into that.
This is so important. He's really strong on finding work that fits your, natural talents, what you're actually inclined towards. He criticizes parents pushing kids into careers without thinking about aptitude.
Right. It's not just about liking your job, is it? Modern research backs this up. Intrinsic motivation, playing to your strengths, makes you more productive, more resilient, better financially in the long run.
Definitely. He even uses himself as an example, saying he just wasn't cut out for mechanical work, hated it, wasn't good at it.
Right.
And if you're in the wrong job, he says it's like pushing a boulder uphill forever. No enthusiasm, you never really excel. He talks about the learned blacksmith, someone smart enough for academics, stuck doing manual labor, or, the other way around.
Yeah, makes total sense. Fighting your own nature is just exhausting and, well, probably not very profitable. Okay, next. Select the right location. Feels obvious, but maybe not.
Well, his examples are from his time, like building a hotel in the middle of nowhere, a guaranteed flop.
Okay.
But the principle holds, doesn't it? Don't go where the market's already saturated. Find the right place for your specific business or skill.
And that story about the London Penny Show. Great performer, terrible spot. Barnum tells him, go to America.
Yeah. And the guy eventually does well there. It proves the point. Great product, wrong place, still fails. You need the right environment.
He mentions that proverb, too, 3 removes are as bad as a fire. Like, moving constantly is disruptive.
Right, but he adds the crucial caveat. If you're already in a bad spot, moving might be the smartest thing you can do. Don't stick it out on a losing location just because moving is a hassle.
Okay, principle 3, avoid debt. Always relevant. Maybe more relevant now with credit cards everywhere. Barnum seems pretty absolute on this.
Oh, he is. He calls it slavery. Says it eats away at your self-respect.
Yeah.
He warns young people especially, don't get into debt for things like new clothes.
Things that don't last.
Exactly. He calls it working for a dead horse,
Mm-hmm.
paying off something that's already gone or worn out. We see that with credit card debt on consumer goods all the time, right?
But hang on, in today's world, isn't some debt seen as okay? Like a mortgage on a house that might appreciate or a strategic loan to grow a business? How does Barnum's view fit with that?
That's a fair point. And he does make a distinction. He differentiates between personal debt for consumption, which he strongly condemns, and using business credit wisely to generate more income.
Oh.
Like that Quaker advice he mentions, only get trusted to get credit for manure because it helps the farm produce more so you can pay it back. That's productive debt.
I see.
And he does mention Beecher's slightly different take, that maybe a small land debt for a young couple could be motivating. But Barnum's main thrust, his loudest message, is definitely against borrowing for everyday spending.
And he warns creditors have long memories.
Yep. Debt doesn't just disappear, it snowballs. Interest works against you 24/7. He paints debt as this relentless master.
Whereas money, if you save and invest it,
Becomes your servant. It works for you, compounding over time. He even has that image of the Puritan Sunday, no work allowed, but your money is still quietly earning interest.
So John Randolph's Philosopher's Stone.
Pay as you go. Simple, powerful.
All right, next up, persevere. Sounds basic, but crucial for anything big.
Absolutely fundamental. Barnum admits some people are naturally stubborn, but he says perseverance is something you can build, you can cultivate. He quotes Davy Crockett. Be sure you are right, then go ahead.
Just keep pushing forward. Don't let setbacks stop you.
Exactly. And he warns about that awful feeling of giving up just when you're close to the goal, losing faith right at the end.
Yeah, tragic timing.
He mentions Shakespeare's tide in the affairs of men, seizing the moment. And Solomon's proverb, the diligent hand makes rich. It's about self-reliance, too, not getting easily discouraged.
His military analogy is good, too. The general who hesitates versus the one who just keeps going no matter what.
Really drives it home. Unwavering persistence makes a huge difference.
Which leads right into the next one. Whatever you do, do it with all your might. Go all in.
Yeah, no half measures. Thoroughness, energy, ambition, hard work. He says fortune favors the brave, favors people who help themselves.
Unlike Macabre again.
Right, just waiting for something to turn up. Barnum's pretty blunt. That usually leads straight to the poorhouse or jail.
He tells that story about the philosophic pauper, all talk, no action.
And quotes Cromwell. Trust in providence, but keep the powder dry. And Muhammad. Tie thy camel and trust it to God. Faith is good, action is essential.
Makes sense. Okay, number 6. Depend upon your own personal exertions. Get your hands dirty, basically.
He really believed the owner's eye is worth more than many employees' hands. You need to be involved, understand your business inside out.
Through experience.
Yes, personal application. Even learning from mistakes. Like that Yankee tin peddler story, getting cheated, teaches you a valuable lesson.
He uses Cuvier, the naturalist, as an example, too. Knowing your field so well, you can understand the whole picture from just one small piece. That's deep expertise.
It is. And then he brings in Rothschild's maxim, be cautious and bold. Plan carefully, then act decisively.
Finding that balance.
Exactly. Too much caution, you do nothing. Too much boldness, you crash. He also mentions Rothschild saying, never have anything to do with an unlucky man or place.
Interesting. Does he believe in luck then?
Not really. He dismisses pure luck. He thinks unlucky people or places are usually just making consistent mistakes or using poor methods. Success comes from doing things right.
Which fits with Principle 7. Use the best tools. And he means people too, right?
Primarily people, yes. Your employees are your living tools. Hire the best you can find. Value their experience. He even says, be prepared to let someone go if they demand way too much money. Nobody is irreplaceable.
But generally keep good people.
Absolutely. Retain them, reward them reasonably. He values brains over just hands. Beecher's image again. Workers with thinking fingers versus a thinking brain. You want the latter.
Got it. Next principle, don't get above your business. This sounds like advice for young people starting out.
Very much so. He criticizes young folks who finish training and expect to be the boss immediately, unwilling to start lower down, or those who think they could just borrow a load of money and start a big business without experience.
He mentions Astor saying the first $1,000 is the hardest to earn.
Exactly, because earning it teaches you its value. Just giving a kid a pile of cash often means they'll just waste it. They haven't learned respect for it through effort.
He's not keen on inheriting wealth either, or waiting for dead men's shoes, as he puts it.
No, he champions the self-made man. Gerard, Stewart, Astor, Vanderbilt. They all started poor, built fortunes through hard work, saving, and sticking with it.
No royal road to wealth, just like no royal road to learning.
Precisely. Both take dedication, consistent effort. He also observes that cycle. Poor kids often get rich because they learn the value of work, while rich kids who inherit sometimes lose it because they didn't learn those lessons.
That comparison between England and America is interesting too. In England, the business makes the man, but here, the man makes the business.
Yeah, it highlights the opportunity for individual initiative. He encourages ambition, wanting to be the best in your field. Says the upper story, the top level of any profession is never full. There's always room for excellence.
He does have a slight dig at Americans being maybe a bit superficial, wanting quick riches, though.
A gentle critique, yeah. Urging substance over speed. His motto here is Excelsior, ever upward. Aim high, don't accept failure if you're truly striving.
Principle 9. Learn something useful, straightforward.
Yep. Have a practical skill, a trade or profession. It's a safety net if the economy changes or your main venture doesn't work out. Always have something tangible to fall back on.
Number 10. Let hope predominate, but be not too visionary. Finding that balance again.
Right. Be optimistic, but don't be unrealistic. He warns against jumping from one pie-in-the-sky idea to another, counting chickens before they are hatched. That keeps you poor, he says.
Principle 11. Do not scatter your powers. Focus.
Keep hammering on one nail is his analogy. Stick to one main business until it's clearly working or clearly failing. If you spread yourself too thin, nothing gets the attention it needs to truly succeed. Don't have too many irons in the fire.
Number 12. Be systematic. Get organized.
Order, routine, punctuality. He says it makes business more efficient, less stressful, know where things are, have set times for tasks.
But he warns against being too rigid.
Yes, with that great story about the Astor House fire drill. The Irish waiter, Pat, taking the instruction, everything must be systematic. So literally he tries to systematically carry out burning soup during the alarm.
Classic. Shows how systems need common sense too. Okay, next, read the newspapers.
Essential in his time for staying informed about trade, world events, new methods. If you didn't read the news, you were cut off from progress. Still relevant, though the newspapers are different now.
Definitely. Principle 14. Beware of outside operations. Stick to what you know.
This is a big one. You've made some money in your main business. Now you get tempted by these other amazing opportunities you know nothing about.
Maybe people flatter you, say you're lucky.
Exactly. And you risk losing everything. He uses the image of Samson getting his hair cut, losing his strength, by venturing where he shouldn't. Invest modestly outside your core area if you must, he says, but never risk the main pot on unfamiliar ground.
15. Don't endorse without security. Don't co-sign loans, basically.
He's incredibly strict on this. Don't guarantee someone else's debt, even family, unless you have solid collateral or you can truly afford to lose the entire amount. It's a slippery slope to ruin for everyone involved. He quotes Solomon again. He that hateth shirtership is sure. Be wary of guaranteeing others.
16 is pure Barnum. Advertise your business.
You knew this was coming. He was the master. His point is, everyone relies on the public, so you have to let the public know what you offer, assuming it's legitimate and valuable.
Newspapers were key for him.
Yes, but the principle's broader. You have to invest in letting people know you exist, sow the seeds of awareness to reap the reward of customers. But he warns, don't advertise junk that kills your reputation fast.
He loved a clever stunt, too, like Jen and the Hatter buying the first Jenny Lind ticket made huge waves.
Exactly. Memorable, effective advertising. It's not just about spending money, it's about being smart and persistent. He tells that funny story about the guy needing 10 cents more to finish getting drunk, like stopping your advertising just before it really works. Pointless.
Huh. Okay, 17. Be polite and kind to your customers. Seems basic.
But fundamental.
Yeah.
He calls politeness the best capital investment. Treat people well, be fair, be generous where appropriate, and they'll come back. Simple golden rule stuff. Sharp practices and rudeness drive customers away. He even had that usher story.
The one who wanted to whip a customer.
Yeah. Barnum basically said, no, we need that customer back tomorrow. Keep people happy.
18. Be charitable.
A duty, a pleasure, and he argues good policy, too. He quotes Solomon again about scattering, generously leading to increase. But it has to be genuine charity, helping those willing to help themselves, not just empty words.
19. Don't blab. Keep quiet about your business.
Yeah, don't reveal your secrets, your profits, your plans, even your hopes sometimes. Be careful what you say, what you write. He quotes Goethe. Never write a letter nor destroy one. Be especially careful not to reveal losses bad for your reputation.
And the final one, number 20, feels like the cornerstone. Preserve your integrity.
Absolutely. He saves the most important for last. He completely rejects the idea of get money, honestly if you can, but get money. Dishonesty, he says, always comes out eventually. It ruins your name, closes doors.
Integrity is worth more than riches.
Far more. It brings peace of mind, respect, trust. An honest poor man, he says, has the community's confidence, which is a form of wealth itself. Honesty is the best policy isn't just a nice saying, it's the truth for long-term success.
Wow. That's quite a list. 20 rules, but they all kind of interconnect, don't they? It's a whole philosophy.
It really is. And when you boil it down, despite being from the 19th century, so much of it just rings true today. It's remarkably timeless wisdom.
Absolutely. If you had to pick, say, the top 3 or 4 that really stand out for today.
Well, that core idea of true economy income over outgo,
Yeah.
that's absolutely foundational. Still is. Then finding the right vocation, work that fits you, that feels crucial for long-term well-being, not just money.
Yeah.
His warnings about personal debt, especially consumer debt, feel maybe even more critical now than they were then.
Good point.
And underpinning it all, that final point about integrity, building success on a foundation of honesty. Those seem like the real heavy hitters that have lasted.
It really does give you a solid framework, doesn't it? Not just for finance, but for living a more, grounded and maybe fulfilling life. So for you, the learner listening in, which of these rules from Barnum really hit home? Anything that resonates with where you are right now?
Yeah, and maybe that leads to a final thought for you to chew on. We live in this age of instant everything, complex finance, crypto, NFTs, whatever's next. How do these really fundamental, almost simple principles from Barnum, things like patience, careful accounting, sheer perseverance, honesty, how do they still hold up? What does getting rich actually mean to you today, beyond just stacking up cash?
Lots to think about there. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into Barnum's world. We'll catch you next time for more insights.